What's up, guys? Welcome to the Brute Neighbors Podcast, episode 4. I'm Philip.
I'm Seth in the his
I
house.
hate you with all my heart. And we're here to talk about some brand new subjects. Today, we're going to be talking about popcorn, Parasite, the movie, and a random mystery thing that Seth has prepared for us, maybe. Do you have something prepared, Seth?
If I was smart, I would have made. Okay, I'm gonna pick something with a P now, so it can be in the.
There you go. You gotta fit the alliteration there.
It may or may not be Plant Man again.
Plant man knows when the plants will grow. Just throw back to episode 1. Whoa.
Which you all know because you're such devoted listeners.
Yeah, way more people listened to the first episode than the other two. So, if they were gonna have listened to any of them, it would have been episode 1. All right, but yeah. So I guess let's just dive right into it. We're talking about popcorn today. Seth, what are your thoughts on popcorn?
I have a lot of thoughts about popcorn. Okay, so first let's talk about this because this is something that just occurred to me very recently, and it shouldn't be. So, making popcorn growing up, we would always just make microwavable popcorn. And then when I went to college, my dad gave me his single use popcorn maker that he's had since forever. But I just realized, and this might be something that's super obvious and I just never knew, but you can very easily make popcorn, and people did it for the longest time by just putting oil and kernels into a pot on the stove. And I didn't know that, and I'm kind of why weren't we just doing that the whole time? That's just as easy as anything else, and frankly, it tastes better.
Well, the one thing there is in a microwave, it's all self-contained. So if the bag
Yeah.
somehow explodes, at least it's in the microwave. I actually have a kind of a funny story about that. When I was 4 years old, it was Thanksgiving, and my family was driving to some Thanksgiving family get together thing, and they had some Thanksgiving programming talking about the Pilgrims and shit on the radio, and my family wasn't listening to it, but just randomly partway through the drive, I start just yelling, "The radio's lying! They're making stuff up! They're lying!" And what I was freaking out about was the fact that they said that they had popcorn at the first Thanksgiving, and 4-year-old me was like, "No, that's insane. They didn't have microwaves back then. They didn't have electricity, so they couldn't make popcorn." And then I learned that you could just make popcorn on a fucking fire. But
Yeah.
I was angry. I was like, "Don't you spread these lies. They did not have microwaves back then."
Yeah. From what I understand, popcorn is a pretty old thing. They
Yeah.
found remnants of popcorn in caves from thousands of years.
And I found remnants of popcorn, the kernels in my teeth years later, so it works because
Same concept, exact same concept.
All right, so I'm just gonna take this opportunity to say I don't like popcorn very much.
Really?
Yeah, and that's my reason is the kernels get caught in your teeth. It's
Mm.
super uncomfortable and unpleasant. I just don't
Yeah.
like the texture normally. Even if everything works out perfect and you don't get it stuck in your teeth, it's just this weird combination of crunchy and flaky soft together, and it's just weird. And the taste just isn't enough to justify it. The taste is fine, but usually it's either just kind of airy or there's a fuck ton of butter.
See, but for me, okay, so for me, the popcorn is just a vessel for the butter. Quite frankly, I do not like butter on anything as much as I like it on popcorn. I actually used to not eat butter on anything except popcorn.
There's so many better even toast you can have butter, pancakes butter.
I genuinely those things. The butter, it applies itself to the texture in a different way. I don't think it's comparable, which is why I'm comparing it.
Yeah, naturally, as one does.
Well, and okay, so my go-to popcorn recipe is half a stick of butter, a ton of salt, and just Old Bay. So much Old Bay.
Of course, I forgot you and your fucking Old Bay.
Yeah. Well, okay, but that is where my like I don't want to say obsession,
It's an accurate word.
but my
Adoration.
yes,
I
great
got you.
word. Adoration of Old Bay came from was I had never used Old Bay before I tried some Old Bay flavored popcorn, and
Was it
then I was like,
pre-flavored?
yeah, like it was a
Uh,
edition Boy Scout popcorn flavor, and it was Baltimore crab corn, and it was very good, but they discontinued it after like a year, and so I wanted to make my own, and my parents gave me a canister of Old Bay, and such the world's greatest love story came to be.
your life was never the same again.
No, no, it was not.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's just like even with like I don't really like buttery stuff that much. Like if I'm gonna have buttery stuff, like I want it. It's an addition to things. It's not like popcorn. It's literally just the flavor of butter, basically, because that's all it is. But like butter on pancakes, it just adds that little bit of like I don't even know what how would you describe the taste of butter? It's
Salty.
yeah, I guess like, but it's also like almost sweet too.
Yeah, well, okay, so I think probably savory is the best word for just like pure.
Savory, I think like meats though.
Well, but to me, well, I mean, obviously I'm a pescatarian. I can't really speak for
That's fair
all,
enough.
but for when I think of savory, like it's that sort of dairy based flavor, or like sort of the flavor of eggs, all of the flavor of meat, all of that is just like
Hmm.
one thing for me, which I know these are all very
Yeah,
like,
that's odd. I don't know if I
well,
follow you on that one.
then how would you describe it though?
Butter or savory?
Butter. I,
Butter,
I,
creamy, obviously. I'd say definitely. I would say honestly more on the sweet side. Like it adds like a softness almost to like that. Like that's why like if I put more butter in my mac and cheese, I notice that my mac and cheese is creamier and like I guess just creamy. I don't know if creamy counts as a taste so much as a texture, but like that's the only way I can think of to describe it. Is like kind of a cream, kind of soft. Again, that's not a fucking
no,
flavor, but
no, these are flavors.
I don't know how else to describe it. Like it's just it's butter. It's I can't believe it's not butter.
Where was this discussion on week one
What
with me?
butter? Oh, with
Yeah,
milk? Yeah. How did we not talk about what milk tastes like?
it tastes good. I am definitely one of those people that I going to a movie theater is not a complete experience without getting popcorn. That has I have got like I've gotten a lot better about it in recent years, because now that I'm paying for things with my own money, like
Yeah. Oh, because popcorn's expensive
more.
at the theater, dude.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm more willing to pay for popcorn at a movie theater than a soda,
See, I'm
because
the inverse.
it's $6. But
Well, see, I used to not buy anything from the concession stand when I went to the
mhm,
movies, but last year when I got AMC A list and like I would like do like double or triple features, so I was literally there at the movies all day long, and like so I would buy a soda at like the first movie and then just like I could get caffeine to like make sure I stayed awake for all the movies, and
yeah,
B when you see it's just because it's unlimited refills, so like it becomes worth it if you're there for 6 to 8 hours.
that that is very true.
But
It,
then
it
popcorn, like even if I did like popcorn and got it, that's it. That'll maybe last you one movie, and then
well, I mean, if you get a large, you get free refills too.
oh, do you?
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
know that. See, I don't know about popcorn. It's like the only time I've ever bought
if
popcorn at the theater
you're
was like
getting
for
this,
someone I was dating that wanted popcorn.
you're trying to speak about a topic in which you are not fully prepared to talk about.
I'm
It's
prepared in the fact that popcorn sucks. And by sucks, I mean it's not my cup of tea, and you are welcome to your opinions on the matter. But I personally do not like popcorn.
disappointing.
Just the texture. I hate the texture. Like the texture's just
Okay,
ugh.
if popcorn isn't good, then why is it one of the mascots for the Wilmington Blue Rocks? Riddle me that.
Because the Wilmington Blue Rocks suck.
And so do you. Um,
I'll be the mascot, sure. I'd be a better mascot than fucking popcorn. Hey.
although, to be fair, the popcorn mascot's like mascot number 4.
Four mascots.
The big blue rock, the anthropomorphized stalk of celery, who is a Delaware icon, Mr. Celery, and
Mr. Celery.
Rocky Bluewinkle, who's a blue.
Oh my god. I will say it kind of sucks that I don't like popcorn because I'm such like a movie guy because like there's this weird association with popcorn and movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just like people assume one goes with the other. Like, oh, we're gonna watch a movie. Oh, we're gonna have a movie night tonight. Awesome, I'll bring popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh well, I mean you can. I won't eat any, but sure. And then like going out on like dates and stuff. I'm going on a movie date. They're like, oh, let's split some popcorn. I'm like, I'll buy it. You can have it though, because I can't. Plus, it's like crunchy and loud, and I'm trying to listen to the movie, especially because in theaters I can't put on closed captioning like I can at home.
I mean, to me, that well, it depends on the atmosphere. Like there was one year where I was at a film festival, and we were going to a horror movie, and I was like, I'm gonna be too scared about this, so I'm gonna get some popcorn to crunch on to up the tension. But they didn't sell popcorn at the concession stand. They sold Pringles, and let me tell you,
that's so much worse.
when I say that I was crunching to break the tension, scary nun appears in the hallway. Oh.
See, I hate that. That ruins
Oh.
That ruins all the tension, all the atmosphere.
Exactly.
See, I love horror though, so like that no, there's no way.
I will tell you, here's where the association between popcorn and movies goes wrong, though, is, so I think it was like 10 years ago, my family went to the Philadelphia Flower Show, which is this great big event they have once a year where like florists from all over the world create these giant pieces of art out of just flowers, and they're gorgeous. They're really cool. And every year there's a different theme. Well, that one year the theme was movies, which is, I mean, a really cool theme. You get some really neat movie sets made out of flowers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Except when they come up with the bright idea that right in the entrance they're gonna spray the scent of popcorn, aka the scent of butter.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the scent of butter and the scent of flowers do not mix. It was a nice idea, and it was a bad idea.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. It annoys me more than it should. That I wish I liked popcorn. Like sometimes I will if people offer me popcorn, I'll sometimes grab a handful just to I feel like this social pressure when I'm watching movies and someone makes popcorn. Like it's such a dumb thing to be feel peer pressured over. But it's the one thing that I'm the movie guy. I gotta keep my image.
I know what you mean. Well, I mean, it's kind of like if I go out to certain kinds of restaurants, I will feel obligated to eat whatever the appetizer is, even if I wouldn't normally eat it. I'll just need to force myself to eat it because I'm experiencing the atmosphere.
It's weird. Where did the association with popcorn in movies come from? Like, why did that become the movie snack?
I don't know. I wish I'd done the proper research to
I also got really spoiled because the theater I went to regularly last year when I had AMC A list was a
Mhm.
dine-in theater. So I
Ooh,
just ate fucking meals, and so like
yeah.
now I'm like popcorn at a movie theater. Actually, I'd like the bacon mac and cheese or the quesadilla platter, thank you.
Ah, yes, a man of culture.
Oh yeah, I will say I was shit talking the popcorn thing about the noise. I definitely ordered nachos once or twice.
Wait.
But at least
Oh,
that has flavor.
okay. The another way place that popcorn goes wrong is I like to douse my popcorn in butter. I like a lot of butter. And there was one day that I was at the movies and I spilled some popcorn on my lap. And that's okay, no big deal. I get a butter stain on my jeans, and I have to wash and rewash that pair of jeans like
Really enjoyed
5
that movie, huh?
times to get the stain. Oh my
Uh,
gosh, that's a nightmare.
I don't know, man. Butter or not butter? Fucking popcorn. Popcorn. I will say I do like that specialty like caramel flavored ones. The like, have you ever had
Like
like the sweet popcorn? Kind of
kettle
like Cracker Jacks. Is that kettle corn?
that is kettle
Is that what
corn.
kettle corn is?
Yeah, it's delicious. I yeah.
Oh, yeah, but like the sweet like candy popcorn. If that's kettle corn, then I like that because
Did
that is flavor.
did
I can.
you fairs as a kid?
Huh?
Did you not go to like fairs as a
I
kid?
usually did, but my family was broke and stingy, and we didn't ever buy fair food.
Gotcha.
Like
Okay.
I've only had funnel cake like twice in my life.
Ooh, you're missing out, kid.
I did like what I've had.
Funnel cake is top notch.
I loved every single heart disease inducing bite I took.
Well, and that is the great thing about kettle corn is like that is the like when I think of the mixture between salty and sweet, that is where my mind goes to immediately. Because it really is like you just throw a bunch of salt in there, you throw a bunch of sugar in there, you heat it up, and oh my gosh, kettle corn is definitely it's up there for some of the best snacks.
I can vibe with it. I still don't eat it all the time,
Yeah.
but I can overlook the texture of popcorn if it's like doused in fucking sugar. Like I can, because like, that's my biggest issue is like I can overlook a texture I don't like if the flavor is good enough for me to look past it. Like I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but I know there are foods like that where I'm like the texture's kind of eh. Brussels sprouts, like if they're I'm like if there's like a sauce on them,
Yeah, I know exactly
like
what you mean.
the texture's fucking weird, but
Yeah.
they can be really fucking tasty if they're cooked right.
I'm the same way with spinach because like if spinach is cooked really well, then like it's
Mhm.
top notch. It's really good. But there is nothing in the world that will ever make swallowing spinach feel natural.
Yeah, especially like I love spinach in
Yeah.
things, but like I just like a spinach salad. I don't like the like as a whole leaf. I can't vibe
Oh
with
yeah.
it.
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
It feels like a leaf, unlike lettuce where it's just green shit.
Yeah.
Like spinach is just very leafy, but if it's cooked in things, it's so fucking good. Like
Yeah.
spinach puffs and fucking spinach soup is really good. It's like cheddar and bacon. It's like cheddar and broccoli soup, but spinach. It's fucking great. God, I love spinach. It's so good. Spinach pizza is really good. I had this like Alfredo and spinach pizza once.
Hmm. See, I'm not a huge spinach pizza kind of guy.
Oh, see, I love it. Spinach and feta pizza is like my favorite kind of pizza. I
Mm.
fucking love it. I can eat that all day, every day. I mean, I couldn't. I would die. But
And I
um,
eat popcorn all day, every day. Bub.
and you would die
Well, yeah.
from starving to death because it's just fucking air. Uh, do we have any more thoughts on popcorn? I feel like we've gotten some pretty good discussion out of it, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I am obviously pro popcorn.
I don't want to say anti, but I kind of want to say anti. On a personal level, I don't think popcorn is necessarily bad. Like obviously it's very beloved by a lot of people. Fair
Yeah.
play. On a very personal level, I'm anti popcorn. I just can't vibe with it. If I'm gonna eat a salty snack, I'll eat chips. If I'm gonna eat, something at the movies, like I'll eat anything else. But yeah, I can't vibe with it, man. It gets stuck in my teeth. There's no real taste unless you just douse it in butter. It's just not worth it to me. I'm anti popcorn.
And I am anti you.
Same. I am also anti Philip.
I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we come to some agreements on this show.
Just wait for my surprise thing at the end.
It's me. I'm the surprise.
Root Neighbors episode 1.
We rewatched Fruit Neighbors episode. That'd actually be really fucking funny. But that means that we'd have to like sit through the fucking hour and 8 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
No, dude, I had to edit that. I had to edit all of these. I've already heard our voices more than enough for me. I like my voice because I'm a fucking narcissist, but
So okay, you don't like listening to our voices, but you like listening to your own voice. So vis-a-vis
I love your voice, Seth. I love your voice. You have a beautiful, lovely voice.
Go screw yourself, Philip.
The only thing is just like hearing my voice just over and over again for like hours, that gets grating. But like I like for small, like I love like anytime I've been on other like recordings or interviews and stuff, I love just hearing myself. I'm an extreme narcissist. It's a problem. Like
Yeah,
I will watch videos that I've been in and just be like, hey, that's me. That's awesome.
I do not have that problem. I can't stand my voice.
I like it. It's yeah, I like my voice. I don't know. I know that's a super shitty thing to say, but
Well, I think we've proven a point today.
what was that point?
If you don't know, then I'm not going to tell you.
Tell me, Seth. What was the point?
Not.
But I'm an asshole because I already knew that.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, I couldn't even finish the thought.
No, that was it. But I was doing it in a comedic sort of way, and you weren't helping me, Philip. You were actually you were detracting me.
I'll detract you hard. Mwah.
Save that for
that's the post show. If you subscribe to our OnlyFans.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, Parasite, the movie, the film,
Yeah.
the Academy Award-winning film,
The experience.
the ride.
So I only watched it for the first time for this episode. Philip, I think, has seen it a couple of times.
I've actually only seen it once in theaters.
Okay, gotcha. I liked it.
Oh no.
I appreciated its message. It's not my kind of film, but I mean, and like I wouldn't watch it if I didn't have to, but like I did like it.
I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah,
it's okay. I get it. Not everyone knows how to read. Haha, get right. Because subtitles.
Okay. Well, okay. I mean, look, there's a lot of good movies that you have to experience with subtitles, and like obviously you shouldn't be a subtitle snob because that closes you off to so many different great cinematic experiences. But it is very like when you are watching a movie with subtitles, you do need to have your focus is on the screen at all times.
Well, yeah, your focus should be on the screen at all times anyway.
But like if I look away for a second for any reason, I could have missed something. Like,
but don't look away.
Wow, great. Yeah, from The Guy Who Lives Alone.
I mean, I've always like had that. Like, I mean, especially if it's something at home. Typically, if you really have to, you can pause or rewind it. And if you're in the theater, nothing should be distracting you. If it is, then you're on your phone and you're an asshole, or there's some asshole in the audience and then you murder them.
Ah,
Problem
okay.
solved.
Oh, yeah, no. It seems like you got this figured out.
Like I am very, I will say, it really, this isn't you specifically. There's some people who are just assholes about subtitles. You're
Mm,
not. You're fine. That's a rational thing you said, but there's some people that are just fucking assholes about it.
yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
just like about like they refuse to watch like foreign films with it, but like I
Mhm.
literally have hearing problems and like
Yeah.
need closed captioning when I'm watching any movie. And I've
Mhm.
had multiple friends who are just like, yeah, no, I don't like subtitles. It distracts me, so no. And I'm like, well, you're just a fucking asshole. And like the thing is, like the people who complain about subtitles, it really is a case of like you get used to them super quickly. Like friends that have watched movies with me regularly, because if I'm playing a movie, I have subtitles on.
Yeah.
I've had friends who they will be like, "Oh, really? Well, I guess if you need, I'm fine." But the more they
Mhm.
watched it, like I've had several friends tell me, like, "Yeah, now even when I'm watching a movie on my own, I watch the subtitles now because I realized how much dialogue I was actually missing and didn't realize it."
Mhm.
And especially like if a movie has really quiet moments or if you are distracted by something, you can quickly read and like, oh, that's what he said. Okay, cool. And
Mhm.
like subtitles are just such a useful tool. I fucking love subtitles, even outside of the fact that my hearing is dying. Like it's just I you miss things, you know, like you miss little dialogues or little subtle moments, and especially or if it's a movie that they have really heavy accents like The Witch,
Mhm.
like you have to have subtitles. You're gonna miss all of it.
Okay, so here is my big problem with subtitles in English language works. And this is, I understand this is just a me problem. Like I am the only person that this happens to probably. But when I am watching something with subtitles, I cannot help but like remember, like it feels like the actor is reading it off of the screen or reading it off of a it pulls me out of the mood. Like I have to stop suspending my disbelief because I'm like, oh, okay, this is an actor saying lines.
I, yeah, I've definitely never heard that one before.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's weird, but like
I mean, fair
that's
play.
what it has on me.
I thought you were gonna say like the normal thing of like I just read the words, I don't see the screen, and like that's something you just kind of get used to the more you have
Yeah,
subtitles.
yeah,
And like you learn to like catch everything in your peripheral. But yeah, no, that one's definitely unique. That one, yeah, no, that's a new one. Fair play. I have no response to that one.
I mean, subtitles didn't affect my viewing of this movie at all. So,
I'm just
so
very passionate about subtitles.
one thing that that really got to me, and
Oh wait, by the way, spoilers for Parasite.
yes.
Just putting that out there. I will put in the description the timestamp of when we stop talking about spoilers for Parasite. All right, go.
So when I was a kid, and this is probably a really weird thing to relate to in this movie, but when I was a kid, I was convinced, just like convinced, that there was somebody else living in my house, like with my family. And I in retrospect, I think it was like I heard a radio story about somebody in Japan or Korea living in somebody's closet. Uh, I don't know if that had any relation to the inspiration for this film at all, but I think I remember that. And I was after that, I if I would hear like something, if I like thought I heard footsteps on the floor above me or I heard creaking in my house, I'd be like, there's a person in here. And like I could think up scenarios where it was very viable for there to be somebody living in my basement. And for like a solid year I believed this. And watching that movie and be like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's not digging up some old would
Repressed memories.
phobia be the right word? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that sounds like a phobia. Honestly,
Uh,
I'd consider it that. Yeah, I love this movie. I have unfortunately only seen it once. I saw it in theaters, which was amazing, and I got to see it like before all the hype too, which honestly may have affected your experience, Seth, because you've had me and the world hype it up.
Yeah,
Like I saw it. I was hyped for it because it's directed by Joon-Ho, who also did Snowpiercer
yeah.
and this movie, The Host, that I really like. He also did Okja. I haven't seen that one all the way through, but
Well, from
I
what like from both this movie and Snowpiercer, I think he's an incredible director.
mhm.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
Clearly, his cinematic style is just like it's very neat, very cool.
I'm very glad that he's finally been getting the recognition he deserves as a director. Like he won Best Director at the Academy Awards, which like I was so happy about the Oscars this last year because they actually for once got things mostly right, which is
Yeah.
very rare for them. We can talk about that more later, but yeah, no, I saw it in theaters and I had no idea what to expect because I saw like the trailer and the trailer was very vague. Like it kind of seemed I didn't know if it was going to be a horror, a thriller, what.
I thought it was going to be a horror movie like until I watched it. That is the
Mhm.
vibe I got from other people.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it's a very interesting blend of genres because the first like half of the movie is just about a straight up comedy and like
Yeah.
almost a heist film.
Yeah, and when it turns, it is like it was absolutely out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Like I could kind of draw what was going on, but I was not I was never expecting, oh, okay, that's why the maid's coming back.
Mhm. Oh yeah, when she because it's a decently long movie. It's over 2 hours. And like the real turning point is like when the maid came back. It was like, hey, I left something in the house. That like is over halfway through the film. So I was like, oh, is the movie wrapping up? Like, because they were just like chilling, drinking and stuff. And I was like, oh, is the movie almost over? Like, oh, I bet they get caught or something by the Park family. They come back home early and shit. Which I mean, they did, but like, oh, I guess they're just gonna get caught. There'll be
Yeah,
some shenanigans.
I thought when I saw it was raining, like my first thought was like, okay, the Parks are coming back.
Mhm. Yeah, and then like they just throw that wrench at you, like, oh, this maid character that you thought was just a goofy little thing they had to get past. No, that's important. She was important. Also, we got to talk about how peaches were used as a like biological weapon.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I loved that. That's such a straight like. It's technically feasible. Like it's not implausible. Like you could do something like that. It's just who
Oh
the
yeah.
fuck
Well,
thinks to
I mean,
use peaches as biological
it's
warfare?
very, I mean, very easy to take advantage of somebody's allergies
Mhm.
to hurt them.
Achoo!
Oh,
But
Philip, did you get my package last week?
oh yeah, yeah, it was great, man. I just hope there wasn't any cat fur on it or anything, because then I would die. I wouldn't die. I'd be mildly inconvenienced.
I'm glad that I didn't stick a hidden pouch of cat fur to explode particles into the air.
Yeah, that'd be a terrible thing to do. Who would do something like that?
It would be pretty lousy.
Um. Anyways, though, all right, Seth, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who was the parasite?
Uh, I mean, they all kind of were.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people like think it's one or the other. It's like
Yeah.
they just miss the point of the movie. Like
They, they all are.
fully think that the Academy just thought it was the poor people, and they're like, "Yeah,
Oh
this is
yeah.
a good movie." Because like that's the thing is like every like person who like I've met a lot of people who are like they're very much like fuck the fuck authority kind of people. They're like, oh, clearly the rich people were the only parasites. The poor people were perfectly justified. And then I've known really rich snobby people who are like, oh, it's the poor people. They're obviously the parasite. But like it's both, and that's the message is that we're all parasites. We're all in this symbiotic relationship with one another and taking advantage of one another. That's the entire point of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And particularly in like this economic system, and especially in the like so severely stratified system depicted in the film. I mean, you benefit from undercutting and stealing from someone else.
Mhm.
And so everybody does it.
Yep.
Um, and see that's the thing with the family, is that like the family is the family's lying, the Kim family.
Mhm.
Kim family lying the whole time, but and yeah, they're taking advantage of the parks, but when they actually start being parasitic, where they actually start being like, okay, we're gonna harm somebody else for our own gain, is when they start plotting for, okay, we're gonna take out the driver, we're gonna take out the maid.
Mhm.
And there is that progression of like kind of that descent in morality, because first it's just like, okay, I'm lying, I'm going to college. Oh, okay, I'm just lying about my background. Oh, okay, this guy's a dick. This guy who I'm making lose his job is a dick, so I can kind of justify it.
Mhm. It just keeps getting progressively.
This person has done nothing to hurt me. They're kind of a decent person. We're gonna make her leave.
It's an incredible. It's a scathing look at capitalism, like
Oh yeah.
especially because as you said, like it starts off with the poor against the poor. It's about them fighting dog eat dog to try and claw their way to the top. But there's this gap that they can never cross between the elite and the poor. Like no matter how much you kick someone else to the curb on your level and use their bodies to climb up, like there's still going to be that gap.
Yeah.
And you especially see that after the twist where they're like fighting on who gets to stay in this, like in
Mm,
this parasitic relationship where they're leeching off of the wealth of the parks. Like they're fighting amongst themselves to have the privilege to be someone else's fucking servants.
mm-hmm. Well, and you think that like there's a brief moment where you're like, oh wait, but like the, the different groups of poor people don't have to fight amongst each other. Like the mom could throw the maid a bone and just help out the dude living in the basement. But obviously the mom does not go along with this. She is completely fine with hanging the maid out to dry. And then as soon as, but before that's even like made clear though, like the maid, as soon as she gets any sort of leverage on them, she goes all out.
Yeah. It becomes very dog eat dog very quickly. There's no collaboration or trying to rise together past this. It's a fuck you, I want what's mine, even if it's not mine, it's mine now.
Yeah.
The climax had me, that was wacky. That was whoa. There's so
Yeah.
much happened in the climax, like so quickly. Like good,
Oh,
but like I was like,
well,
Jesus Christ.
and I did like I like I was still expecting it to be rising action until people started dying, and then I was like, oh, okay.
I
So
guess we're
this,
wrapping up.
wow. I was, I don't want to like get to this point in the conversation too prematurely, but I really want to hammer. If it had just ended with the climax, I like if the ending had not gone where it did, I don't know if I would be as satisfied with the film. I feel like the ending does a really good job at wrapping it up. Because like you know the dad is not in any sort of good situation whatsoever. Neither is the whole family, but the dad is quote unquote safe.
Mhm.
And it throws this sort of bone to satiate the readers of like, okay, this hope that the son is going to work to be able to set his dad, or to be reunited with his dad, all of that, even though that's never gonna
Well,
happen.
see, that's the thing. It's a false hope, and like I think because
Yeah.
I think the whole movie hammered home, bootstrapping doesn't work. You can't
Yeah.
bootstrap because there's still that insurmountable gap.
Yep.
It's a very like it's he falls back on that dream because that's what society has told him. That's your only way. And
Yep.
so, and honestly, the fact that he falls back on that after he's been traumatized with a head wound, like kind of, I almost hammers it home more of like, yeah, it's a silly dream, but it's all you have.
Yeah.
So it's a very powerful film. I fucking love it. It was my favorite movie of last year. It's
The favorite actor of the entire film was the dad. He was extremely
The
impressive.
dad was really good. He's a veteran Korean actor. I've seen him in a few things.
Yeah, yeah.
He's great. I really liked the sister.
Yeah, yes.
She
Yeah,
was
yeah.
great. I was so sad when she died.
I know.
Like
Yeah.
I was kind of I was almost I get why. I was almost disappointed that the son didn't die because like I was like, holy
I,
shit, they killed the main character. Like with when he
I
slammed his head with the rock, I was like, holy fuck. But then he was, fine, quote unquote.
I was very surprised that they saved the son, because
Mhm.
when he got hit with the rock the second time, like, okay, he's dead.
Yeah, I almost wonder if there's almost maybe a subtext of like was the exposition even real? But like I don't know if that was an intended point or not.
I definitely see what you're saying, and like
I don't think
that,
there's enough hinting at that.
that that sounds plausible, but I don't think that's what, if that was something that was thought up in the original making of the film, I don't think that's something that was intended to be conveyed in the final cut.
Yeah, I agree. Like I definitely see how it could have gone that way, but knowing Bong Joon-ho's directing style, I think he would have like he likes subtlety, but he still wants you to figure out what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it was genuine and did happen. It's just an interesting thought.
I thought the what they did with smell was very interesting.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because at first I thought it was just going to be like, oh, okay, that's how they're gonna get caught. Because the first mention is when the park son, he is like, they all smell the same. And I was like, oh, he's gonna tell that they all live in the same place. Because I mean, whenever you go to like a friend's home, you can tell it smells like them, and
Mhm.
because that's where you spend all your time from. So I was thinking, okay, this is just a plot device,
Yeah,
but it ended up being more of like, okay, this
part of
is
the theme.
this a marker. This is, yeah,
Yeah, it was a classism marker. It's like it turned into like they all have the same smell. They all like not just the family, like the smell of being poor.
yeah.
It became this classism distinction.
Well, and I was watching this movie with my parents, which is a big mistake. But
You gotta, dude. If I'm recommending you a movie, it's probably gonna have some stuff in it you might not want to watch with your parents.
I they liked it as much as I could have expected them to like this. But they my mother just like could not understand, why did the dad have to go stab the other dad? And I'm just like, oh, for me it was the smell. It was the him holding his nose, where I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Well, he hit his breaking point. It was,
Yeah,
and hadn't when did the daughter die? Had she already died or no?
yeah. The daughter had already died.
Yeah, at that point, he has nothing else to lose.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
he just watched. I mean, he doesn't know where his son is, but he just watched one of his kids
I
be murdered in front of him. Like fuck it.
I was surprised that they didn't. And I mean, I know it's just because it's a movie and it doesn't necessarily play by the like rules of reality, but I was expecting them to be like to notice more that the dad smelled like he'd been climbing around in sewage water. Because like the next day when he's driving around after, like, they've spent the night in that sort of open air auditorium or whatever it was, like she reacts like, oh my gosh, this smell is like really outrageous.
Mhm.
But after that, there's no like I would have expected that to be like sort of symbolic of the increase in visibility of his position in society.
Hmm.
But they chose not to play more with that.
I feel like at a certain point, if you had gone like it might have felt a little hitting over the head if they'd gone a little too much
And
further with that.
I agree with that. I think that's right. But it just because of how it happened, it felt weird.
Hmm. I get what you're saying. I think it works fine, but I can see that.
Now, something else that was very interesting for the viewing experience of the film was uh like right when it's revealed that there is somebody living in the basement, um my dog just starts going crazy in the next room. Like it starts very slowly, just like a bark. And he's in this room that's surrounded on all sides by windows, and so all he was seeing was like the dark yard outside of our house. So he starts barking slowly, bark, 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 and he just starts barking his head off, and like, there's what's outside? My dad yells at him. My dad goes over the door. He's like, "You see, there's nothing out there. There's no
It's already in the house.
oh." And he just stops, and I'm like, "What the what the hell is wrong?" There was a raccoon in the backyard, and my dog had just like gone crazy.
Oh my god.
And I mean, it was very surprising because we don't normally get raccoons in our area, and
Mhm.
so like it was such a surprise to everyone that we were just like, okay, that's skeevy, we don't like that.
Just as the movie was getting more of a thriller.
Yeah,
I will say, I think it was the dude in the basement was it the dude in the basement or the maid who fell down the stairs and cracked their head open?
that was made.
That was brutal, dude.
Yeah.
That scene, like as you know, I have a very high tolerance for like gore and stuff, but like that wasn't even gory. It was just so the build up to it, and then just the tumble down the stairs, and then crack. That
Well, and I was sure she was dead a couple of times, and I never knew when she was dead, because I feel like after that somebody said she was still alive too or something. I don't, maybe not, maybe that happened after the first time I thought she was probably dead, and somebody
yeah.
checked her pulse, was like, she's still alive. But I was just,
Trying to remember. I don't know.
yeah.
I think you might be right. Maybe she was. I don't know. It's been a second since I've seen it. Like I
But
saw it in like October.
yeah, so there was just kind of that there was very much that, well, and I mean that comes back with the son getting hit in the head with a rock multiple times. Like, I thought he was dead after each one of those too. So it kind of creates this, you never know when something's gonna be lasting. You never know when something's gonna stick.
Yeah. And honestly, that matches the rest of the film too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, because I mean, they thought they were set for life.
I know this was just like a very sort of this was just a kitschy thing of like, okay, now we're seeing sort of the pettiness of the family in action. But when when the son, which, okay, I was creeped out when the friend was like, I'll ask her out as soon as she graduates, way like,
Yeah.
it was bad to begin with. And then when the son of the family says, he's like, oh, I really like her, I'm gonna ask her out when she graduates, and I'm like, this is,
Yeah.
I do not support this Lolita-ism.
Yeah, I will say that that plot line I wasn't a fan of, but like I kind of chalked it up to cultural differences.
Yeah, well, that's also true. It could very much be somewhat.
And like I think it's a combination of like it might not be as oof in another culture, and a combination of also no one in that film's a good person.
Yes, I that is true.
Literally everyone in that film is like even the kids in the parks were kind of sketchy.
Oh,
Like even the boy was kind of an asshole.
yeah, yeah.
Like literally, I don't think there was a single character in that film that was like, this is a good person. Which
Yep.
like you would think would make the film unpleasant to watch, but like you still care about every single one of their struggle. Like they're very human characters. Where even though they're I never found myself rooting for one character over another. They were all terrible, but I still was also invested in all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I was invested in all of their struggles. Like, even the parks. Like
Yeah.
I didn't hate the parks
Oh,
any more than I hated the rest of them.
no, no.
And I think that was kind of the intention of like they were all equally both likable and detestable. They were very human. They're like just like there's so many people who, yeah, they're cool, but also they can be kind of a dick. Like
Well, and
and then add in the classism struggles and everything else.
I think all of that was very deliberate. Like I'm sure that Bong Joon-ho like what was very deliberate not to paint anyone as a good guy or a bad like anybody as a villain as much as like the system itself is the villain.
Hmm.
That is what corrupts people and turns people against one another, and it does that with every single character.
Hmm. A Bong Joon-ho is an incredibly talented man.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he won best screenplay too, didn't he? I know
I
Parasite
think,
won 4 awards. I know that
or wait, what wasn't it?
because I know he
That
won.
wasn't that Jojo Rabbit one best?
Well, Jojo Rabbit won adapted. I don't know. Parasite might have won original.
Okay, gotcha.
Give me 1 second. I know it obviously won best international film. It won best picture. It won Bong Joon-ho won best director. I want to say it also won best original screenplay.
I did read something about how the area in which the Kim family lived, or what was like where that was set in Korea, has become a tourist destination. So you've got all these relatively well-to-do tourists coming in, and like, I mean, essentially being voyeurs of a lower income lifestyle, and
Hmm.
it's very much it's very much just like you are keeping in place the system that keeps these people in that developed the situation of the movie in the first place,
Hmm.
dehumanized, that made them commit acts that we would think of as inhuman.
Yeah, I will say I do remember reading one thing that apparently that area said they were like I don't know, it might have just been a publicity stunt because attention was drawn to it because of the movie. But supposedly the government of that area said they were going to go out of their way to improve the living conditions of those sub basements.
I think I
Like,
heard that too. Yeah.
so again, I haven't double checked and seen if they've actually done that, but that's what they said. So that's cool if that's true.
Something else I wanted to talk about was I read that Bong Joon-ho actually came up with the concept of the film as a play,
Mhm. Yep.
and I was thinking about it, and I think it would be really cool adapted to a play. Like I would still like to see it in a theatrical format.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see it working as a play.
Because
Absolutely.
I think it could very easily still be adapted, even though you do have the multiple sets and you have all that different. Like it's still like it serves very well like that.
Yeah, I think it's very feasible. I definitely see it be done.
Well, and I almost feel like I might, and this is just me. I might even like it better as a play.
I don't see it personally, but like I also like I like plays, I like theater, but like film is my preferred medium for the most part.
Hmm.
And like I just don't think you can replace is the right word because it'd be an adaptation, so it'd be its own thing. But
Hmm.
I just the cinematography is such a huge part of what makes Parasite so good.
Well, and I would agree that that is what I like most about it is the cinematography. I just feel like as a character piece, and this is kind of just my own sort of views on film and theater, is that like I definitely think it's a different experience for the audience to be invested in character on the stage, as opposed to on film. I think film works best to communicate stories that need to be communicated in that fashion.
I think it really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Because
Yeah,
there's definitely with plays, there's definitely a very human factor of like you are there in the same room as these stories are being untold in the moment. And that
yeah,
there is definitely an energy and life to that that you might not get from watching something on a screen. But the benefit of film is that because it's a set thing, it's a set, you film it, you film exactly how you want it. You can get that moment quote
yes,
unquote perfect. You can get the right angle, the right lighting. You can get exactly what you want
yeah,
in that moment, and you don't have to worry about any other factors. You can get it down perfect theoretically,
yes,
and that's why I think film. It's gonna. It both depends on what the director is trying to accomplish, and depends on the audience as well.
hmm,
Like for me, I would rather have that perfect detailed moment and exactly shot exactly how they want it, as opposed to that live energy. But I
uh-huh.
definitely see and understand why the theater experience is more powerful for some people.
Well, and I mean, I'm just speaking. I think I would resonate better with it as a play. I don't mean to imply that it does not fit better as a film.
Well, I think it's not necessarily even a better thing. I think it varies from person to person,
Yeah,
and like I don't even know if it necessarily even, like it does depend on the story, but like I mean, a theatrical adaptation is just it's its own thing. It's its own
yeah,
life. It's its own. It's not the same thing as Parasite the film. It's
I,
I feel like it's a what's the word, disservice to both the play and the movie to try and directly compare the two. Like I try not to compare adaptations as much as possible just because they're different entities. Like
yeah,
I try to look at a film like sure like okay you left this out of the book, it would have been cool if that was in the movie.
hmm,
Whatever, does it work as the film?
yeah,
That's why The Last Airbender is a terrible movie, not just because it's a bad adaptation, but because it doesn't even follow the rules of the world it sets in its own, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours.
hmm,
It breaks itself as a film, regardless of the adaptation. Like
yeah,
yes, it's also a bad adaptation, but like I think you can be a good film and be a bad adaptation. I think there's good adaptations that are bad films, like the Silent Hill movie. Great adaptation. It does an amazing job of taking all these little details from the games, but not a great movie.
hmm,
So I think it's different standards that you have to look at when with adaptations. Like I think they're their own life form, and there's different ways to judge it. There's different metrics. Are you looking at it as is it a faithful adaptation, or are you looking at it as its complete product on its own terms?
yeah. I I I think you 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 got it. Got something.
I do have something. I
Uh,
I'm weirdly passionate about that. I don't know. I like that. I think a lot of things get a bad rep for like because like I feel like a lot of people just don't look at it as its own thing, and I think that's what you have to do. Like it's
yeah.
like all the Disney remakes. Most of them suck not because they're bad adaptations, because they're lazy films. Except like Jungle Book. I like live action Jungle Book. That was good.
See, I didn't like the live action Jungle Book.
What? That's like the only one I thought was good. I enjoyed Aladdin, but it had flaws.
Yeah, yeah, I feel the same way about Aladdin. I I don't really want to go down this road because this is too far away from the
Yeah,
main.
we've gone a little bit like
Uh,
adaptations and stuff is one thing. Now we're going.
yeah, I liked the I thought the Beauty and the Beast movie was a good
We shouldn't go down this rabbit hole. Let me talk about it more.
movie.
Lion King remake was awful.
I didn't even see it because I knew I wasn't gonna.
It's the
Yeah.
laziest, soulless, lifeless thing. Like even Dumbo is better because at least they tried something. Like it's a bad movie, but at least they tried. Lion
Yeah.
King is just so soulless.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, Parasite.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. I mean I am pro Parasite. Like I definitely see why it won Best Picture, and I think it deserved Best Picture. That being said, what I said in the beginning stands. Like I'm never gonna go out of my way to watch this.
Eh, I mean, fair enough. I love it. I think it was. It's either for me. It's either the best film of the decade, or
That's a bold claim.
I don't know that it is. Like I think it's definitely up there, no question. And I honestly think it's probably. If I were to pick my
You
favorite, I would
realize that
say
both
either.
the Twilight movies came out this.
You're right. How could I forget? Based on pure favorites, it's between Parasite or Get Out for me. I think Parasite might be objectively the better film, but Get Out just resonated with me very particularly. It's one of the few movies I've seen at least over 10 times. Like, I don't rewatch movies very often, but Get Out, I've seen tons.
Did you like Parasite more than Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think because they're both
They're
films about
very
classism.
yeah.
One's an action take on it, and one's a character drama.
Yeah.
I just think Parasite as a whole it fits the themes better, but Snowpiercer is still great. I still love Snowpiercer. It's one of Chris Evans' best roles. That and Sunshine, and of course, not another teen movie. Chris Evans is in that.
Never heard of it.
It's I watched it just because I heard Chris Evans was a goofball in it, and he was.
Ah, indeed.
Um, yeah, no, I definitely like Parasite better than Snowpiercer, but I love Snowpiercer as well. Don't get me wrong; it's a great movie as well. Bong Joon-ho is just a super talented director. If you like Bong Joon-ho, check out The Host by him. It's South Korean. It's another one with subtitles, so you're gonna have to read again. Everyone who's listening, but
Mm-mm.
it's a monster horror, but it's also has a lot of comedic elements too. It's very weird, but it's good, and you definitely can see it was a little earlier in his career, so you can kind of see that style and like in its more juvenile form, and you can see how he's progressed and grown as a director from like Snowpiercer to Okja to Parasite, and it's really it's a lot of fun kind of following his growth as a director because he's super talented man. I love him to death. I love his quote when he won his second award. He was like, "All right, I'm done for the night now. I'm gonna go drink until morning." And then he won two more fucking awards. Like he did not think he was gonna win even one, and he won the biggest prize of the night.
Mm-hmm.
He amazing man. I'm so uh, he's quickly become one of my favorite directors. But in case you couldn't tell, I'm definitely pro Parasite. I definitely I would say it's one of my favorite movies of the decade. It might be the best movie of the decade. I don't know which ones. The Witch is up there.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm not gonna listen to you list a whole repertoire of A24.
The Witch was the only one.
Okay, well, hey, yeah, never mind.
Like there are other good A24s, but The Witch is my favorite A24 movie. But
Mhm.
what else came out that decade? Jesus.
A lot, a lot came out this last decade.
Yeah, Parasite's the best.
Okay,
I'm making that claim. I'm making it right here,
I
right now.
I mean I yeah no, I don't really think about best films of the decade. Maybe I'll come back to that next week and tell you what my best film of the decade is.
Yeah, we can look over films and shit and like have a quick conversation about it next week because I definitely I think it's one of if not the best of the decade. And honestly, the 2010s were a good year, a good decade for film. Last year was a great year for film. There were some amazing movies that came out last year. But yeah, pro Parasite. Do we have anything else to talk about on that or?
Nope.
All right, Bong Joon-ho is great. Go watch more of his movies. Watch Snowpiercer.
All right, kiddo.
Yeah, what's your
Let,
surprise,
let,
buddy?
let's see if I can even find the video. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm sorry
Oh
ahead
no.
of time.
What are you doing to me? All right, Seth, what's your surprise?
So what I am sending you is a link to a Niga Higa video,
Oh no.
one of his most famous videos. Wait, did you ever watch him in the day?
No.
Okay, well, he for like the entirety of when we were in middle school, he was the most subscribed account on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
When did Smosh take over? Because Smosh was around the big one for a while.
yeah, that was like right after we got into high school, I think. Because
Okay.
it was number one was Nikahika, number two was Fred, and number three was Smosh.
God, I forgot about Fred.
More like we intentionally blocked him out. Here is the big bouncy inflatable green ball.
Okay. How long is it?
Like less than a minute.
Oh, okay. Seth? Seth? You're still muted. Seth? Seth? Seth?
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Too late. They're always twisted. That's my secret, Captain.
What did you think of the big bouncy inflatable green ball?
All right, first off, so that is that where potato comes from?
Yeah.
I've heard people do that all the time. I didn't realize that was a reference. I thought that was people just being wacky.
I'm pretty sure that that's from that.
Huh. Wow. The more you know. It was fine.
That
It made me chuckle a little bit. And like for a minute-long video, that's good.
that was
Definitely.
a culture right there.
Yeah, apparently. Apparently potato is a or how's he do it? Potato.
Potato. Or maybe.
Fake fan.
It's been too long. It's been a whole minute since I uh
I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was goofy, but yeah, it definitely feels like the precursor to Vine humor.
yeah. I would say that's pretty accurate.
Which like this is of course controversy. I'm not a huge fan of Vine humor for the most part. There's a few I like, but I never got super into it like the rest of the world did. But
Mm-hmm.
like that was fun. That was cute. It was, simple, nice,
Yeah.
straight to the point. It was just goofy. I liked it. It was good.
Nikahiko was like the pinnacle of just like funny videos for funny videos' sake.
Mhm.
Like Smosh got very like they were very organized in the way they made videos. Like it was either like sketches or like it was series. Like
Mhm.
the
Well, they like the Pokemon shit, like
yeah,
Pokemon in real life.
like Nikahika. I never really thought about it until you just kind of made the comparison, but it was very much just like vines with regular YouTube video length.
Yeah. And like I think that works. Like I mean, I haven't seen a lot, if any, of his stuff. If I've seen any other of his stuff, it's just been random
How to
things
be
here and there.
ninja.
You might have shown me that. Yeah, I mean, it was fun.
He was he like what was he was a staple of my middle school experience because that's when YouTube was like that's when YouTube was big. Like it was kitschy to do YouTube for YouTube's sake and not just because it was a tool.
Hmm.
Like I mean, I still watch YouTube just as much as I did in middle school, maybe even more so. But now it's just like, oh, I have a video I want to watch. I'll go to it. Whereas back then it was like it it it, it definitely felt a lot more like social media, if that makes sense.
I can see
Back
that. Like I remember, like I nowadays I really don't watch a lot of YouTube. Like I watch Rooster Teeth stuff, and that's about it.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm watching movies or TV or trying and failing to write. But and like when I was a kid and like high school, middle school age, like I would just browse around YouTube for hours and find random ass shit. And
Yeah.
like I remember some like random like just random things. God, I wonder if my old YouTube account still has any saved videos. I kind of want to dig that up and see what awful, probably horribly offensive things I used to watch.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of things have not aged well, and my mindset is very different than it was in middle school, high school.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I oh that's always really interesting. I had one friend of mine who tried to be a big famous YouTuber. But we just thought, I mean, he was one of those guys who just like was a very charismatic personality. And so when he started making, it was very much kind of in the same vein as the kind of people who made YouTube videos back then. So we're like, oh my gosh, he's making these kitschy, funny videos.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'll go, like, he's blocked all of his videos now, but whenever I'll go back to watch them, because I still have the links to them, I'll be like, oh dear God, I don't know whether he got away with that stuff because it was 2009 or because we were still in middle school.
Yeah, yeah. There's some things that definitely have not aged well. I definitely had a YouTube channel in high school that is now deleted.
Yeah. My one and only YouTube video is still on there. I never deleted it.
I need to go back and make sure that my channel is fully deleted. Because that I have no idea what I said. I'm hoping it wasn't anything too terrible, but also it was like early, probably late 2000, early 2010, 2010,
That
2011.
that that's how I feel about Facebook. Is that like every so like I'll usually go through the memories, and
Oh
then
god,
like I literally I cannot describe to you what my personality was like back then. Obnoxious. It was obnoxious. But
dude.
like, uh, I will flip on a dime from one day to another. And I know if I see something from like 20 from 20 earlier than 2013, it just needs to be deleted.
Dude, yeah, I had some real cringy shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I said anything like offensive, but
Yeah.
I did do a lot of the like petty high school like I'm upset and then no context
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, no,
With a sad
like
face.
I think that's something really important to comment on is like it's not something we thought about as it was happening because it's a progression that happened over obviously like 10 years, but to go back and just see how differently we use the internet now than we did 10 years ago.
Mhm.
Like when I first realize that I was so blown away because I never realized that there was that drastic of a change.
Oh yeah, like yeah, I used to post on like message boards a lot, and like sometimes I'll go to like the Internet Archive sites and look at like my old posting styles and shit, and
Yeah,
like again, like I don't think I usually said anything like super like oh god, but like I would say some just like questionable shit, and then like it would be
yeah, yeah,
like colon and a p would be like the sticking out tongue smiley thing. It's like that was like every other post, and I'm like oh god,
yeah. Like
text emojis.
nowadays I'll use uh Facebook as just like, oh, I saw a cool article, maybe I'll share it. Or
Mhm.
like if I have some big event in my life, like, oh, I graduated, I'll post it. Whereas back in middle school and early high school, I treated it as Twitter. Any sort of like politically incorrect thing I wanted to say goes on Facebook. Any sort of like I'm like you said, just kind of like I can't believe this sort of thing happened. Like the writers of Doctor Who don't know what they're talking about, and I would just like rage.
See, at least you were like specific. Like I remember, like literally, there's a post that every now and then will come up on my timeline. I really need to just delete it, but it's just a today was a good day, feeling happy, smiley face. And like I had some friends comment on it, so I know what it was in reference to. It was it was about the first time I was kissed in high school, and it was like it's just this generic fucking like today was a good day, and I'm like. What the fuck? What was the point of this? Why did I feel the need to say anything about it?
Well,
And B, if I'm going to, why the fuck did I just do this vague ass shit?
I know exactly what you're talking about because I've got a ton of those. There's one day in particular, March 16th every year. that was the day freshman year that this girl I was crushing on got together with one of my best friends, and so I can always guarantee that I can, like, when Facebook Memories pops up, it's like having a great day. Uh, have the post of, like, from what we were doing that day tagged with all of my friends, and then just like 3 posts of like, I'm the last romantic, life is darkness.
Oh my god. Man, I posted so much cringe shit, man.
Yeah.
And like,
But and along that same sort of line, and taking it back to sort of a theory perspective, for one of my classes I was taking last year, it was like a media theory class. We had to watch this YouTube video from like 2007, so like the early frontier days of YouTube.
mhm.
And it was remarkable seeing, because the comment section was all jumbled up, but there was a comment from 2007, a comment from 2012, and a comment from like now, all right next to each other. And it when I say, it was like going to one of those geological surveys and seeing the layers in the
See the
earth.
rings of the tree trunk.
Yeah, because you had your 2020 or 2019 post that was just like, this good memories, this was really cool. Then you have your 2012 sort of Twitter like post like, OMG, I can't believe this stuff. And then 2007, rar XD, this guy is my otaku, or something.
Oh god.
And just like, wow, the way we use the internet is so different.
It's so weird. And like all the like it's weird, like internet's always had its own culture too that's like grown and changed. Like
Yeah,
because especially because like I like as a kid I was on the internet a lot. And like I feel
yeah,
like the internet didn't really become, at least like posting things and stuff didn't become mainstream till the past like decade. So before that, like the internet very much had its own culture before like everyone was on it.
yeah.
So like you had
Well,
all these weird little groups and niches and like
yeah, it's very strange, because you whatever sort of you see from the sort of the culture from back then that is continued to the present, where it's persisted has been in like very questionable places. Like some of the corners of Reddit, I mean, Reddit's a great website, but some of the corners are kind of sketchy. Or like 4chan,
oh
which
no.
I mean, that, like, to go back and think of, well, I mean, even just the difference between memes. Like now memes are just whatever recurring image you can have pop up with funny text, whereas like rage comics were the memes. That was like the height of sophisticated comedy.
It's interesting like how the internet has changed and like it's kind of sad how it's definitely like it's a weird nostalgia that like
Yeah.
everything's consolidated into social media where like there
It,
used to be like I was on like 5 different message boards and I had 5 different like groups of just like online friends that I would
yeah.
talk to, and now like everything's just on Facebook, or like if you want like message board discussion it's all on Reddit now, when like I used to go to message boards, there were specific sites for all sorts of things like Star Wars and fucking Lego and shit. Like I was on all that shit. I was on like 7 different message boards,
Yeah.
and like that's kind of gone now. That like specific, like sure you have Reddit and like subreddits and they have their own little communities, but I feel like it's different than it used
Yeah.
to be. Like there used to be like we were all on this one website because we all liked this thing, and
It
then
yeah.
so it's definitely it's interesting seeing how things have changed.
It was like the Wild West. I just have kind of one more big thought, but like that sort of period of middle school and like the first Obama administration, like I'm using that as a timestamp
Sure.
of that period of time. That was some of the darkest years of my life. Like I every day I was quite frankly a terrible person, but like for for whatever reason, that stretch of time is where if I see a piece of culture from that time period, the nostalgia hits the hardest, and I can't just maybe because it was the culture of that time that was getting me through it.
I will say it's definitely. I was an asshole as a teenager, but like I like when I was like 13, 14 on the internet, I was a troll and was just being an asshole to people on the internet.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah,
not proud of it, but like I definitely did, and I used that as like an anonymous outlet for my teen angst.
yeah.
Luckily, I outgrew that, but it was a weird sort of because like you don't have anonymity. How do you say that word? An
And
unknown.
anonymity, anonymity,
You're
and
not
then
anonymous anymore. Let's just do that. You're not anonymous anymore on the internet like you used to be, because like it was a weird kind of outlet where you could just be like an asshole and like kind of just vent and shit. And like obviously that's not good or healthy, but
yeah.
like
Oh yeah, no. And it definitely it brought out a lot of ugliness just in society,
oh yeah,
because there were a lot of people who were like, okay, because nobody can tell it's me, there will be no repercussions,
oh
and
yeah,
I can.
yeah. It went from just being like a troll to being like some people would do actually
Yeah.
shitty, terrible things. Like I know there was one message board I went to, somebody posted about how they were planning on asking their girlfriend to marry them, and some asshole, like doxed him, found like the girlfriend, not only ruined the surprise, but then like said some shit or something that they ended up breaking up, and like
Hmm.
they like destroyed this guy's relationship, and it's like that's so fucking terrible, and like they just think they like some people just think they can do fucking anything
Yeah.
because they have the veil of being anonymous, and it's like it's one thing to be a troll and an asshole, like you're still an asshole, don't do that, but
Yeah.
like you're actually like once you're impacting someone's real life, like you should be
Mm.
able to like take a step back and be like, wait a minute, that's still terrible. Like, why would I do that to someone? You know, I think a lot of people forget that like you're like there's a real person on the other side of the screen. Like
It,
even now, like I mean, people
yeah.
are
Oh yeah.
still cyberbullying is still very much a thing. Even now that being anonymous is gone, like how many shitty Facebook arguments have you seen where people just say, "Oh, you're a garbage human, fuck you," and it's like you wouldn't say that if they were right in front of you. Like this
Yeah.
conversation wouldn't have escalated to where it is now if you guys were sitting at a table together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like people forget that like there's this mental gap that people forget, like this is still a real person. People are assholes. That's the moral of this story.
Wow, I can relate that to all three of our topics. People are a-holes on the internet, people are a-holes in Parasite, people are a-holes for not liking popcorn.
It's
It's
true, all of it. I guess I guess that about wraps it up. Don't be an asshole.
that's
That's
the
today's
moral.
message.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
moral of today, kids.
yeah, yeah.
A
Oh,
is for asshole, and it's good enough for me.
oh my gosh. Well, that was fun.
All
All
right.
right.
Tune in next week for what are we talking about next week, Seth? Let's come up with
Oh,
something right here, right now.
right here, right now. Forrest
Hey,
Gump.
oh, Forrest Gump. We
Fine.
can talk about Forrest Gump. No, we did
No,
Parasite this week.
no,
We can do
no.
Forrest Gump.
No. You know what we're talking about next week? Gone with the Wind.
Am I
Boom.
going to watch a 4-hour movie?
Yeah.
I'm off the next 3 days. I'll do my best.
Sweet. Awesome.
I do own it somewhere.
I
God
believe in
damn it. Do we really want to talk about the Confederacy again?
you. Yes. Okay, well, now that sounds like I'm excited to talk about the Confederate. I have a lot of opinions on why. I mean, it's kind of general knowledge by this point that Gone with the Wind's a bad movie, but like, okay, well, I say bad movie. as in like it's
We'll go
well,
into it next week.
yeah. But it just like I have a lot of opinions on just how awful and insidious like he is.
Oh god, you know what? Fuck it, fine, we'll do it. I gotta
Sweet.
watch it eventually. Can we talk about roller coasters?
Yeah, sure.
Roller coasters and Gone with the Wind, the classic duo.
I mean that was my favorite roller coaster at Universal.
The
You
Gone
know,
with the Wind coaster, yeah.
Gone with the Wind coat. It was because you're gone with the wind,
And then explosions.
and then explosions. Yeah,
And then it becomes Final Destination 3, where they all
exactly.
die on a roller coaster.
I love Splash Mountain.
Yeah, roller coaster. Yeah, that'll be fun. I love roller coasters. I'm gonna enjoy talking about that, and then I'll suffer through Gone with the Wind.
Boom.
All right, and then I gotta come up with something for you next week, so we'll get to
Yep.
that. There's no topping Death Note, the musical, the English concept album, but well, I'll try.
Till next.
All right,
Know.
thanks for listening, guys. We love you. Like and subscribe. What was that, Seth?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, glad we interrupted each other to say that. Smash that like button. What did I don't want to say the guy's name. It makes me uncomfortable. Say the YouTuber's name.
Oh, Nigahiga?
Yeah, I don't like saying his name.
Okay.
It makes you uncomfortable. Like it's just his name, so there's nothing wrong saying it, but I just feel uncomfortable saying it.
I okay.
I don't want to. I'm too white and too blonde.
I mean, like same, but I mean that's his name. I can't.
That's why he died off. Probably like no one can say his name.
He's still making content. Like he never stopped making this kind of content. People just stopped watching it.
He's got to rebrand, man. Like I don't want to say it. Like I will say like there's been a couple of times you've mentioned his name, and then like somebody around is like, "What did you say?" And it's like he's a YouTuber. I swear. He's a YouTuber.
He was the #1 YouTuber in the world, and I'm the only person who seems to remember him.
Apparently, I've heard the name a lot. Like not just from you, but I definitely know he existed. But yeah, I never watched his stuff. I didn't even know he was Asian, honestly. You know who else was Asian? It was Asian. He still is. Joon-Ho.
It's all coming full circle.
We've lost the plot. Let's just end it. Okay. Next week, roller coasters, Gone with the Wind, mystery thing. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna go fuck off now. Later.